Hello, welcome everyone. We are starting now our webinar about CX Essentials, also to introduce the customer experience online course that we host at ISO Academy. I'm Carlos Molina. I'm VP of Business at ISO, and I will be guiding this session for the next hour. So welcome everyone, and thank you for joining. We are very happy to see people from many places participating here. Just a couple of simple instructions during the webinar. As you know, we have a couple of options to interact with you. You have the chat open, so you can chat with our team that is going to help and support any question that you have regarding the webinar, connections, any problem that you might experience. They will be there for support you. And also, if you have questions for me, during the sessions, there is also a module that is called Q&A. So I would like you to leave the questions in the QA module so I can have them all together and review them after the session or at the end of the session. And also you can vote other people's questions. So if you find a question that is relevant and it's also a good question for you, you can just put the thumb up and this will rise and in the list so I can answer them earlier. So, well, we're going to start just a very, very brief introduction about us. We are ISO. We pronounce it ISO because we are a company based in Spain. We could say ISO also if it sounds better in English, but when we are a experience management or experience design company. We started working in experience management more than 25 years ago, and we have developed this practice both in customer and employee experience, mainly in Spain and Latin America, but also in the rest of Europe and some projects in Africa. So, well, we are very happy to have all of you in this session. As I mentioned, we are mostly niche consultancy, a specialized consultancy in experience management. So we work with many verticals: banking, insurance, pharma, telcos, also education or retails, utilities companies, also of course quick service restaurants, automotion, travel and transport, and there is a lot of projects recently also in the B2B business with some reference like Siemens, Argos, or Essentia. These are only some of the logos. We implement more than 300 projects every year, and we work with more than 500 companies around the globe. We are like a mid-sized consultancy. We are not as big as some of these very large consultancy companies that are around the globe, but I think that we've been growing and we are happy with the size that we have. We are operating in more than 25 countries. We are around 500 professionals in the different offices that we have in the world. And so this is just a little bit about us. And the agenda for today, we invite you to participate in this session that we call CX Essential Masterclass. So we will be sharing some of the knowledge and the concepts that we consider relevant in order to manage and implement a customer experience strategy, sharing the way that we approach this type of projects, which methodologies we find relevant. For me, it's very important and also more interesting that we can have a very interactive session. So any question that you might have about how to measure, how to use these tools, what would you recommend for different type of business. So anything that you think that would like to know more, please leave your comment in the Q&A module. So we will be answering all the questions during the session. We will invest like 30 minutes to share the concept and the knowledge and the tools. Hopefully it will be relevant for you. And also we will like to spend like 10-15 minutes explaining the customer experience management 360 online course. That is the 8-week course that we have designed to help professionals that want to develop their career and learn and grow on the customer experience and customer centricity strategies. based on our methodology and our knowledge. So we would like to show you how this course is structured, what is the type of content, the learning methodology that we follow, so you can evaluate whether this might be relevant for you or for any other people that you know. We would like to close also so with some giveaways. We have designed a small contest where everyone can participate, and we will be giving some rewards to thank for your time and the participation on this session. So if you wait till the end, you will be able to earn some important discounts for the course. And also we will be doing a final contest where there is a free entrance to a free ticket to participate in the next edition of the CXM360 that we are hosting in October. So with this, let's start with the content and the knowledge. And again, very welcome. And any question that you might have, please interact with us in the chat and also in the Q&A module. So to start with a customer experience, I think it's very important to align in what is the definition and the vision that we have. And this is a very simple exercise that I recommend to do in case that you are working internally in a company and you need to align and you need to explain people what customer experience is about. So it's called Do You Remember? And the good thing about this is that we are all consumers, we are all users, we all interact with different type of companies, and we've done this during all our lifetime. So we can recall and we can remember experiences that we have lived in first hand, in first person. So the idea of this exercise, if you do it in your office, in your company, I would recommend if you are in a room, ask people to use a paper and write down by hand. Okay, what experience do you remind? What experience comes to your mind? And what happened in that experience? What was the story? Okay, so this is what we are going to put in the first quarter. Then why this story is special? What is special about this experience? What elements are different from other situations that you have lived, and why do you remember it? How did you feel when this happened? How long it happened? If you do this with a lot of people, and I've done this with hundreds of people, you will find that there are good stories and bad stories. People that remind good experiences and bad experiences. People that remind experiences that happened last week, and people that remind experiences that happened many years ago. But all of them share one thing in common. In all these stories, there is a very high level of emotion. So emotions are very important in the way that we manage the relationship with companies. And the best definition for me on what is customer experience, in fact, it's not a phrase or it's not a definition academic or from a consultant or expert. It's a phrase that is attributed to a writer, a poet, that is called Maya Angelou. And you probably have heard this phrase before. Maya Angelou said that I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And beyond the beauty and the poetry that this phrase might have, there is also a deep learning. And the learning that I take from here is that experiences are based on emotions, and we design this like value chains for why we work on emotions when we work on customer experience. And it's because the emotions, what people feels, is the main ingredient of the memories. What people is going to remind and recall from you is based on these special situations where emotions were very important and very intense. And why memories are important? Well, memories are important because the behaviors that people do, what people do, is based on these memories that we have created. And this type of behaviors like recommend, repurchase, buy more products, cancel the products that you have contract. All these behaviors, they have an economic impact on the business. So this connection of four concepts is very important, and is the way that we approach customer experience. We see experience as a way to impact on the business results, on improving our business goal by understanding what are the emotions that we are creating for our customers. So many of the tools that we use on experience management, like personas, journeys, NPS, that probably you are familiar with them, many of these tools are oriented on how to identify, measure, and design emotions on the relationship that we have between our customers and our company. So understanding this is very important in order to manage and to understand how we are going to work on managing the experience. And to manage experience, the second tool or the second concept that I wanted to share with you in today's session is this framework. Framework is a model, a visual design that connects all the different elements that are part of a strategy. So when we think on how to manage customer experience at Etho, we created this 10 elements and 4 layers framework. And this framework, it's a tool that you can use to understand, to diagnose, to design, to plan the way that you are going to manage experience in a company. So if tomorrow I join a new company and I have the challenge of working on improving and managing the experience, I can rely on this type of tools to use them as a diagnosed and identify where are the elements that we need to develop, and based on that, build my customer experience strategy or customer experience plan. So just a quick explanation on the framework that we created in case it's useful for you. This framework, as I mentioned, is oriented and structured in 4 different layers. The first one is the customer, and we put customer in the middle because we always say that this is a customer-centricity strategy, so we put customer in the center. And what means to put customer in the center? Well, customer in the center is the definition of how we build this obsession with understanding our customers, understand who they are, how they are, what they like and what they dislike about the experience that they have with us. So companies that want to differentiate and to excel in experience management need to invest and create tools, practice, activities in order to have a very good understanding of their customers. And we will see some tools that we use and that can help you improve in this goal. The second one is the vision and the strategy, and we put it like in the outside of the model, surrounding everything, because what you define in your vision or the strategy you are going to follow is going to affect the rest of the element inside the model. And the vision basically talks about what is this unique identity that you are going to be recognized for. Experience can be good and can be bad, but either way, you can design your strategy to be recognized by some attributes. So, for example, Amazon has experience that is based on the concept of the effortless. It's a very simple and low effort strategy. While, for example, Starbucks is not about effortless, it's about personalization, that you have like this third place that you are going to spend more time, like your house, your office, and the Starbucks. So all the decisions that they made on their customer experience model are aligned with the vision and the strategy that they want to develop. And this is something that all the companies need to define in order to manage the strategy in which direction they want to go. Well, once you have your strategy clear, in order to create this emotional connection between your customers, your users, and your company, you can rely on these 3 dimensions of the experience: brand, product, and interactions. These are the 3 elements that we can use in order to create an emotional connection. And all of the companies, all of the verticals use a combination of these 3, but not always in the same proportions. And there are some type of business where brand is the most important element in order to create this emotional connection. There are other companies and other business that product is the most important dimension, because most of the experience that you are going to have is because you are interacting directly with the product, like for example, technology or autos, etc. And there are companies where the interactions, the channels, like the shop or the service center, the branch, the contact center, the digital channels, every time that the customer interact with us, it's an opportunity to generate an emotional connection. So for example, service companies like banking, telcos, utilities, they usually have a very intense strategy based on the interactions dimension. But either way, there is always opportunity, and people and companies should manage experience in an integral way, incorporating the design and the communication that you do as a brand, the innovation on your product, and the excellence in the service that you provide every time that the customer interacts with you. In the last layer of the model, there is these 5 dimensions that are oriented to the experience management, how you implement what you need to implement inside your company to be efficient in the way that you manage the experience. So in order to be excellent in the strategy, you need to define a way to governance experience. Who is going to be responsible for this? In which spaces you are going to talk about experience? How you are going to define your goals, assign responsibilities, follow up on the commitments. This is what we call governance, and it's very important that companies that want to excel and then to succeed in implementing these kinds of strategies design a very good level model of governance. Also, you need to rely on data, and you need to understand what is the impact, the economic impact that the experience might have in order to make better decisions. You need to measure the excellence and the quality of your experience by listening to the customers in all the different touch points in a regular basis. You need to also align the technology, and of course, you need to align how the people is going to act to provide the experience that you want. So all these 10 elements are part of the framework that you can use. Using this framework, you can understand the level of maturity of your company and identify what you need to do in order to implement a strategy. The second tool that we use, and I think that it will also help you to plan and to design how you can manage the experience, is what we call the customer experience roadmap. A roadmap is this path that you can follow. When we do transformation with companies, usually we follow this step by step to go from the organizational alignment to a situation where we are more focused into transformation and implementing actions. But usually we structure this roadmap in 3 main stages. First, we are more focused on listening and understanding customers. And most of the activity that we do here are oriented to research, measure, understand, and create these first tools to diagnose the experience that we are providing, like the buyer personas or the customer journey that we are going to explain a little bit in some minutes. After we build these tools, we can start working on design and innovate in the experience. And when companies are more mature on these activities, they are more focused on the transformation. And there are 3 layers that are on the bottom of the model that means that they need to be present since the beginning and during all the time. That is having a voice of the customer measurement program to manage and to act on the voice of and on the feedback. Having this management system and governance model to action the different elements that to identify on your listening, and also working on the culture of experience on the people, so everybody is committed and aligned to the strategy that we want to develop. So we want to just have some examples on the 3 main stages that we have here, so you can understand what are the main tools that we can use and what are some best practice that we can share on using these tools. Okay. I hope that we are doing well so far. If you have any questions, please share them with us. You have the chat available and also the Q&A module. So looking forward to see any questions that you might have during the session. Well, first module, when we talk about listening and understanding our customers, I like to reinforce this phrase that says we need to learn and to think the way that they do. So how we can design for other people that are not us, because we usually tend to think that what is a good idea, that what is an idea that I like, is going to be an idea that everybody is going to like. And this is usually a problem. So to design better for other people, we need to rely on tools. One of the tools that we use at experience management is personas. Personas is like a graphic visualization of the segmentation that we can create on our customer base, on our prospect base, but looking or focus on behavioral and expectations and things that are important really for the way that they are going to experience the relationship and make the decisions. So in order to create these personas, we need first to research, we need to talk with people, we need to make studies, and with all the information that we have, we will build this type of template. Here you have like a structure that we use at ITHO in order to create personas, and with these personas, we can make better decisions, we can create campaigns, we can design better cross-sell strategies, we can innovate or segment the way that we are providing the service. So there are many decisions that we can make. An example of how to operationalize the personas is, for example, from this cosmetic company, like Sephora. In Sephora, they identify that there are two main type of buyers when they go to the stores. No, there's people that like to be assisted, while there's other people that feel uncomfortable with that and they prefer to shop on their own. So the way that they implemented a brilliant idea on how to segment and provide the experience that everybody will prefer is by creating these two type of bags on the shops. So when you go to the Sephora store, you can decide whether you take the red bag, and this is telling the rest of the people that is working there, if you are available, I would prefer someone to approach me and ask me what I need and provide me some advice on what I need to shop. While if I take the black basket, then I can shop on my own, and I'm not going to be disturbed. I'm not going to be pressured. I will just interact with an employee if I decide to go and ask myself. So this is just an example, but think that there are many type of customers on your universe, and in order to create a good experience, an emotion, what emotions me and what creates an emotion in my brother, it's not the same thing. And we are talking about my brother. Imagine with all the different type of people that you are interacting in your company. So this is a very powerful tool if you know how to use it. If you know how to do a good segmentation, if you are very good at identifying this type of different users and describing them, and also creating action, taking action based on the insights that you have identified. Also, personas are very powerful in order to create this alignment and this culture of customer centricity. If we want our employees, what I mean by this, any company, at this very moment in your company, there are people making decisions. I'm not talking about board of directors or strategic decisions. I'm talking about day-to-day decisions. So how we make sure that every person in my organization is making the right decisions, is making decisions by understanding and considering what our different type of customers would prefer or would like. Well, providing them with these templates, giving them the information of what is the preference, the needs, the expectations, what they like and they dislike, it's going to help our teams to make better decisions for our customers. Well, the second tool that we use in order to listen and to understand customers are customer journeys. And customer journeys is a very, very powerful tool that help us understand what it's like to be a customer or a user of our company. And it describes all the story, all the activities, all the moments that the user or the customer is going through in order to solve their need. From the early stages where they have a need and they investigate and they look for information, they contact us and they go through all these steps, the purchase process, the activation of the product, the usage, and the loyalty phase. Describing all this story will help us identify where we have the best opportunities to innovate. If we are going to, we all have limited resources. Companies need to prioritize where I'm going to put my money. What should I solve first? What is going to be more impactful? So customer journeys are a very powerful tool in order to identify where are the biggest opportunity, where we have the greatest challenges, what is going to really help the customer to have a better experience, and because of that, um, incentivize the behavior that I would prefer, like repurchase, recommend, and etc. So in order to be the customer journey, we also need to follow a methodology. We need to investigate. Journeys are a very powerful tool if we build them correctly. And we need to be very insightful in order to describe and understand the story of our customer and not our processes and the way that we look at it from inside. So this is just an example on how we build customer journeys at ISO, describing this all this story on the customer. It has a lot of information that will help the different teams have to work based on the like a single source of truth for the organization. So journeys are a very powerful alignment tool. And from this exercise of mapping the experience, most companies have like a list of actions that will take like 12 months, 15 months, 18 months to keep improving based on the insights that they have developed uh, uh, from this the diagnosis or analysis. Well, just another example on how we can implement this and connecting the idea of the personas and the journeys. This is a story in this global airline that operates mainly in Latin America. It's called LATAM, and in LATAM we focus on a project that was oriented to what we called the non-frequent traveler. Okay, most of the companies, and it's natural, they focus on the frequent traveler, but in this case we identified that was another persona that has a different need, different characteristics, and also was an important percentage of the users of the airline. That is these people that they don't travel so frequently. So for these people, airports and the travel experience was like frightening. And they were confused and it was difficult because airports and the teams that assist customers, they are not used to deal with people that it's not used to move in this environment. So when we describe the non-frequent traveler, we train the teams in the boarding area or where they drop the bags, and we change the protocols in order to how to manage these interactions with these customers. We created a much better experience that lead this company to increase of 4 points in the level of occupancy in their airplanes in the local flights. So this is a very important improvement that is affecting a lot the revenue and the benefit of the airline. So there is a connection between identifying your customer problems and needs, designing and redesigning and innovating the experience, and obtaining the result that you will expect. Well, what we do after we have done this analysis and we created these tools to learn and to understand our customer, we can work on designing the new emotions, what memories we want to leave on our customer, on our client. And the problem with um, the bigger problem that most companies are experiencing is this, that we promise emotions, our communication, our advertisement, our image is telling the customer, I care for you, you will be happy, you will be part of us. All these elements are part of our communication, but at the end of the day, our processes, our channels, our interactions are transactional. And the way that most processes and most companies work is based on processes, and processes are designed to solve. Customer has a need, and we want just to solve this interaction and close it in the system. We are very transactional in the way that we manage this. So usually, if you think on a process, it will go something like this. I have a problem. I tell you my problem, you ask me for information, and with this information, there are some decision-making processes, and that can be on your systems, on your policy, or directly rely on the people, but nevertheless, it will happen any of these two situations. Whether I give you a positive resolution and I give you the answer that you are expecting, or I give you a negative solution and I don't give you the answer you were expecting. But in both cases, at the end of the day, the interaction is closed and finalized. So apparently, if you go through the upper side of this workflow, well, you should have a good experience because you are getting the solution that you are expecting. And if you go through the lower side of this workflow, you wouldn't be so happy because you are not getting the solution that you will prefer. But in the real life, things are more complex. And there are many times, I'm sure that you can recall situations like this, where although you have get the positive solution, although you have received the solution that you were expecting, you didn't have a good experience. You thought that it was like painful, it was stressful, you weren't treated good. So there are a lot of elements beyond the resolution that affect experience. As much as you could have a good experience even if you are not having the solution that you were expecting. So in order to change this, we have built a methodology that we call um, emotional interaction design. And this methodology is based on thinking on your processes, not as a way to go from the need to the solution, but as a way to go from the initial emotion to the desired emotion. And this is something that is applied in many industries. Like, for example, Disney has a lot of examples on how they have designed and innovate in very important moments. Like, for example, when you can't access an attraction after you have waited maybe 2 hours in the queue to access, but maybe your kid is not tall enough or there is any other problem, they have built a way of solving this problem by creating a good memory, not by solving or giving you the solution that you were expecting, but by creating a memory that you will recall and that will create a good experience, even if the situation is not as good as you would like. And this is something that can be applied at Disney, but also can be applied in many other type of industries. And there is methodology to design this. This is a template that we use. Sorry that it's in Spanish, but you can map your initial emotion, you can map your desired emotion, and based on this objective going from here to here, you will identify what you need to do different and what you need from your systems, your people, your processes that need to be changed in order to have an impact on your KPI, on your strategic goal. So these are part of the methodologies that we use in order to innovate. And this is a case where we have applied this methodology, for example, in this bank in Spain, where there was a problem in interactions, like when you have this change of your account executive. You know, in many banks, you have someone that you have assigned as your executive, but there is, because of the turnover and the internal movements, many times these people is changed. And this bank identified this was a frustration moment for customers because you need to start from zero. And also, the way that the bank was managing this situation was not excellent because they weren't considering all the emotions that went through the customer, or the customer was experiencing by this change. So we redesigned this. We incorporated like design thinking, and we co-designed with customers. And by changing the way that this was managing, well, we created a much better experience for the customer that was less affected by this situation. Well, last element before I go to explain the online course. In the transformation, I'm going to share some of the insight and tips and content that we share regarding how we can measure and act based on the experience. So, well, most of you probably have measurement systems, and maybe you can use the NPS or customer satisfaction or any other indicator. When we manage a company, we say that we can work, or we work with two types of data. We have the operational data. The operational data talks about what is happening inside my company, and usually it's generated automatically by our internal systems like sales, operations, contact center, or whatever. And we generate tons of this, a large amount of information. And this is mainly what we use, what our directors and managers and so on so use in order to make decisions and to manage their responsibilities. But there is another type of data that we call experience data. And experience data is not speaking about what has happened, it's speaking about how the customer has perceived this that has happened. So for example, I can have I don't know, a store or a branch, and I can measure operational data that the average wait time in my store is 15 minutes. Okay, so this is an objective operational data. Experience data would be how we can measure if this time is perceived as too much from our customers, if they are feeling like this is very effort or complex or difficult to do. Okay, and what is the problem is that while we have like tons of operational data, because of the way that we can capture the experience data that is much more difficult to create, we have much less. And there is a very simple question that I would like you to ask. And this is a calculation that you can do by head and will guide you about how good we are creating this experience data. You only need two numbers. How many customers does your company have? Imagine that we have 1 million customers to make the calculation simple. How many surveys, how many feedbacks do you collect in 1 year? So imagine that I'm a company that have 1 million customers, and I do 100,000 surveys per year, which is already a lot. But still, if I do this calculation, if I divide the number of feedbacks that I collect between the number of customers that I have, and I can calculate this percentage that we call NPS customer share or experience customer share. It's like the what is the percentage of customers that I have at least what feedback per year. Well, we should calculate it like more accurately, but at least this would be like a rough approach. Most of the companies, especially when they are big, they are below a 10%. And what this means, it's not a problem of a statistical representation. The information that we are creating is valid in terms of a statistical representation, and we can make decisions to improve our company based on that data. But also, it's true that we don't know what 90% of our customers think about us. Okay, so we are able to make some decisions, but still we have a lot of information that we are missing about how the majority of our customers feels about us. And why this is important? Because beyond having a number of NPS and an average, and also identifying like root causes, what we want to have is a metric where we can have this information from each and every one of our customers, so we can manage the relationship with them differently. If I know that I imagine 20% of the tractors, this is a number that doesn't tell me anything. It tells me that I have a problem. I can identify what are the root causes that are linked to this 20% of the customers. But what I would like to know is from my 1 million customers, who are these 20%? Because I would like to do a direct action in order to change their perception and to act on them so I can avoid them from leaving my company. So this is the way that we see experience management and the measurement, not as an statistical tool, but as a system of action. And in fact, the way that the NPS methodology have evolved is from a measurement to a management system, to something that is not oriented to the score, but to how to act on improving systematically the experience with all of our customers. Because we say that the customer doesn't care, that you know their NPS. What they care is that you do something about them. And if they are telling you that they had a very bad experience, someone needs to act on it. So the idea of the feedback is that you can build a conversation. If someone is telling you, I've had a bad experience, I'm a detractor, they expect you to have a reaction on this. They expect you to act and to try to change, because if you don't do it, they will understand that you don't care, and they will probably be living in the future. But also you can build the conversation with the passives, and even you can build conversation with promoters. For example, who do you think that might have more willingness or better conversion rate for a cross-sell campaign? A detractor or a promoter? Well, of course, promoters are more likely to convert in a cross-sell campaigns because they have a better perception of the company. So why don't we use the information of our voice of the customer program in order to improve our marketing campaigns? Because not many companies are doing this, and they don't do it because they don't have enough information. They are only measuring and asking maybe 2, 3, 4, 5% of their customer base. Well, this is something that a topic that I'm very passionate about, and I would love to have more conversations with you in the future. But well, at least I wanted to share with you some of the ideas that we have on how to transform the voice of the customer program into a revenue generation initiative. And there are a lot of examples. This is a case that we implemented with this bank in Dominican Republic, where we implemented this close the loop program for promoters. So based on the workflow that we created by identifying promoters, identifying their business needs, and creating a workflow, so someone from sales, their account executive, will contact these people, only the people that told you that they are very happy with the company, to follow up on the conversation and to see what they might need with what other services they will be willing to hire from the bank. They increase in more than $3 million the revenue on the specific segment of the bank by action on the feedback, by this close the loop program for promoters. So this is a great best practice that we have shared, and it's internationally very recognized at Qualtrics. That is the platform that we use to implement the voice of the customer program. Well, just two more things. When we want to transform, when we think on improving the experience, this is a model that you can also think about and implement. We differentiate between the fixed miss and the surprise miss. If you want to improve NPS, there are only two things that you can do. Either you have less detractors, or you can have more promoters. Okay, so the thing, what you need to do in order to have less detractors is identifying these situations that you need to fix and you need to correct. But if you want to increase the number of promoters, you need to do things differently and you need to surprise them. So there are different methodologies for both things. And the recommendation is to have, even if you can, different teams to work on both type of actions. And this will help you create this transformation and governance model. And of course, we need to connect the experience that we measure with the impact that we have on the business. And this is an analysis that we did for a bank, where we were segmenting based on the measurements. And in this case, because how the NPS behaves in different regions, in this case was Spain, well, we segmented what we call the soft detractors from the hard detractors, because in Spain, in the school, with a 5, you pass. So 5 is like a fair note, while in the US, where the NPS was designed originally, this works differently. So many cases in Spain, when someone puts you a 5 or a 6, it's not as bad a score it might be in other places. So in this analysis that we did for a Spanish customer, we segmented and we divided what we call hard detractors, that are customers that rate you from 0 to 4, from sub-detractors that give you the score from 5 to 6, from the passive 7 and 8, and the promoters. What you can see is that when we analyze the correlation between this score, the experience score, and the year-on-year ordinary margin, well, there is clearly an increase that if you improve the experience, you are going to increase the amount of money that you can create or generate from your customers. While if you create a bad experience, you are detracting and decreasing in the revenue. And you can make these calculations based on the main KPI or business KPI that every type of business might have. Like, for example, in the retail business, that is very different from this subscriptional or service model. In the transactional business, the more the biggest KPI, business KPI, is the frequency of purchase and the average ticket. So Hugo Boss stores made this analysis that they correlate what they called well, it was the question, how did you feel about your recent experience in the Boss Hugo store? And they segmented the answers between irritated, disappointed, neutral, satisfied, and delighted. And they measure and correlate that moving from disappointed to satisfied increased the average spend in 86%. And moving from satisfied to delighted increased an additional 37. So these type of metrics are very important in order to convince the board of directors and to justify the investments that you need to do in order to improve the experience. Last message, there is also a connection between customer experience and employee experience, and working on employee experience also has this impact on revenue. And this is like a virtuous cycle that Qualtrics designed for employee experience, that if you invest on having engaged employees, they will deliver great experiences, and this will create loyal customers. So this will create for you a stronger financial results that will allow you to reinvest. Also, having engaged employees correlates with lower employee turnover and other indicators that impact in the financial results of the company, so you can keep reinvesting. And there is a third, like a more organic cycle that says that providing a good service, creating happy customers makes you feel good, makes you feel proud, and this is also reinforcing the disengagement for your employees. So these are some of the tools. Just as a reminder, managing the experience, we need to listen, learn, and transform. This is the roadmap that you can follow, and I expect that you have find some tools useful to implement and to understand how you can work with experience management to improve on your business results. Well, I'm checking, and I think that we don't have a lot of questions. So I just wanted also to share with you that we have this business unit that we call ISO Academy. ISO Academy is an online academy with specialized trainings to develop and to create professionals around experience management, customer experience, employee experience, etc. And we have this starting program that we call CXM360. This is an online program that is designed to develop in 8 weeks. During these 8 weeks, you will access our online platform where you can find all the content of the course that is structured in 6 modules. Modules that explain how to manage experience from the strategy and the vision, the understanding of the customer, where we can learn more about personas, journeys, and all how to analyze and research on customer experience. The innovation and design will be the third module, where we deep into methodologies like service blueprints to identify problems, design thinking methodologies to innovate. This methodology that I showed you about emotional interaction design, how to apply it so you can redesign and innovate on your processes and interactions with customers. Fourth module is focused on how you design and implement a voice of the customer program. Fifth module is focused on the CX technologies that you can use to implement your strategy. And the sixth module is focused on culture, governance, and transformation. So just a quick look at the way that we manage the learning methodology into, and I will pass now to Carla, that she will guide you in the giveaways that I promised at the beginning of the session. But just for you to have some uh, understanding, well, we have our learning platform that you have access to the different modules, and each module has this self-service content where you can navigate through all the information that we have created. We have like short videos to explain information. We have activities that you can do to validate your knowledge, some games that you can follow. Also, there are specific documents that you can download in order to have information on the methodology, like, for example, the SEM maturity roadmap. These documents are inside the platform, and if you're part of the course, you can download and build your library of content and methodologies, templates, etc. And in each module, we have also an activity like practice that you can do on your own. In this case, in the strategy module, we are explaining the blue ocean strategy methodology. So you have the explanation, there is an activity that you need to develop, and then you can solve the doubts that you have about the activity that you have done on the online session. Each module of each one of the 6 modules has a 2 hours session where we can interact with a teacher, ask questions, get deeper into the knowledge. So what we think is that the best way to learn is by combining different type of activities, self-paced, also live sessions, so you can interact, and of course, having contact channels so you can share with us any question that you have during the learning process. So the idea of the training is that through the different modules that we have, you can access the content, do the homework, solve your doubts, and at the end of the process, you will need to go through a test to validate your knowledge and to obtain the certificate of CXM expert that we provide to all the people that successfully finalize the training.